So he sees a guy who's sitting on the ground. वो splint हो गया था उसके पैर पे, ठीक है?
I think I know where this is.
So this guy, he's like, bro, कभी ना मेरे को तो SuperVillain type ख्याल आ जाता है. बोला क्या ख्याल है? So he's like, bro, I feel like kicking his leg.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Off the Dome Presents Karobar, where we break down your favorite hip-hop projects with the artists themselves while we drive along the streets of Bombay. In today's episode, we have two very special guests. The first guest is an absolute behemoth from the Bombay hip-hop scene. He has been grinding hard since the early 2010s, dropped multiple projects, OG Hustler and MTV Hustle, Grav. Our second guest, meanwhile, is an ace sound engineer and a versatile producer, having worked with Gravity and Nas consistently over the last 2 years. Please welcome Outfly. I'm super excited. Let's see how it goes. So, Grav, Outfly, what's up, man? What's up? How you guys doing?
Bro, how are you?
All good, man. All good. यार साउथ बॉम्बे यार तुम लोग आते रहते हो यहाँ पे. I mean of course we suburb boys.
Yeah, suburb boys.
सारा टाइम निकलता है.
अरे यार but it's a very beautiful place man. Like इतना हरियाली सब देख के यार बहुत सही लग रहा है. But beautiful से याद मतलब it's the opposite exactly, which is SuperVillain. That is
ugly
soundscape and you know like अभी तो बारिश का मौसम है. I think it's still matching the vibe of the album. But tell me यार, it's been like 1.5 2 months almost. And you know how's the reaction been, like you know कैसा चल रहा है?
The reaction has been great. People are really, it's like it cannot be in the middle for this album.
Correct, correct.
It's either like it's extreme
only, of course.
जिसको नहीं मतलब कुछ लोग ऐसे कि वो बोल रहे हैं कि हमको समझ ही नहीं आ रहा है, and कुछ लोग ऐसे कि they are like mind blown because of the production, the layers, the vocals, the lyricism, everything. So it's two extremes, but luckily it's leaning more towards the positive side. It's like majority of people are like fucking with it heavy and really vibing with it. So काफी बढ़िया यार, बहुत अच्छा response है.
No, I hate, but I want to point this out, you know. So right after Hustle, you know, you had that big push, you know, TV, जो भी था, and then you dropped Malal EP.
Yeah.
And then when you hear Aaina after Malal EP, it's like, भाई बेटी हो गई क्या Malal EP के बाद? क्या scene bro? Like how? But tell me about Malal EP also. I think.
So Malal was like a product of one of my Ahmedabad visits. Okay. Because I before Hustle I was visiting Ahmedabad a lot for the past couple two years, like past 2 years. So the boys there, Neil, CK, then GCI, वगैरह. So CI was the first guy I got in contact with, got in touch with, and they are making some really great music for a while now. So there I got in touch with Neil, and Neil is like a multi-instrumentalist, वगैरह. So there we sat and made some songs. The first EP was like an English EP called Misadventure. So once we dropped that, it did not get the attention that I thought it should. So I was like, I'll make a revenge EP in Hindi. That will be all Hindi songs, all like very much in the spirit of like between the golden age of Bollywood music and like indie pop, like a mixture of that. So that is how Malal came through, and it was just me writing and composing the songs and telling Neil like ऐसे गाओ ये ऐसा है वगैरह, and on Neil's beats. So yeah, it was a very quick cook up, and then Outfly and me took a quick tour to Ahmedabad, where we recorded the final vocals for the EP, and then we waited.
Yeah, but
till Hustle was over.
So yeah, so you made this like during Hustle? That was
Before Hustle.
Before Hustle.
Way before Hustle, okay. And you're just like, okay, right time, we drop it.
Yeah,
correct.
Because there was no time in between
to drop it. Makes sense.
Because we had just dropped 316 when I was entering Hustle.
Yeah, I remember that.
So there was no space to drop Malal. So
perfect.
We waited. We dropped like the first single from SuperVillains, the title track.
Yeah.
Then we dropped Malal, the video for Chehre from 316. And then we got back to SuperVillain.
Chaos.
Understood.
Chaos.
So let me get this right. So during Hustle, because the soundscape in SuperVillain is simply outstanding, and the reason why I'm saying that is because when you hear the word villain, like you know, in popular Indian culture, I'm saying, or even you know global, I'd say, EDM, dubstep, heavy 808s bass, it's not exactly the soundscape, you know, sonic that you associate with, you know, sinister characters or super, like you know, the theme that you're exploring in the album. So I'm really intrigued to know, how did you and Outfly, like how did you conceive this sound?
Regarding the sound, I mean, see, first of all, the idea of doing a SuperVillain themed album wasn't really on the table.
Yeah.
We started off with the title track, which is SuperVillain, and that was it was pretty much me just like, you know, trying to make some good beats and send it out to like Grav and other people. So SuperVillain clicked. We made that song first, and then we made Get It On. So these two songs were made before Hustle. And by then we'd like solidified the idea that we need to do like an entire album with this soundscape. And I had gotten a hang of making these kind of beats. Now I don't come from a hip hop background, so it was harder for me to make like your traditional hip hop beats. I mean, I can now, but back then it was a little difficult. So I was like, okay, I need to find like a niche thing that I can do first, and put that out there, which can sort of like solidify my credibility and stuff. So then we decided to do the album. And what you asked about the sonic structure that a villain themed this thing would have, I didn't really have like a sonic structure in mind कि ऐसा कुछ होना चाहिए वैसा कुछ होना चाहिए. We just went with the kind of sounds that we found and that sort of worked for the album. Honestly, the sound selection in this album was the most important thing. The kind of loops we used, the kind of whatever, anything. It was primarily based on sound selection, and we would just find the most weird sounds that somehow just go with each other. It was pretty much that. Like it was like a lot of people are going to be like, "Arey, itna complex ye wo." It's just stupid. Just don't have that filter when you're selecting sound and making stuff. Just make whatever, and this is pretty much whatever. It's not like well thought through कि ऐसा sound होना चाहिए वैसा sound होना चाहिए. It worked, and then like 2-3 songs in we got a hang of it कि भाई okay, this is the direction that this album is going in. Then my sound selection process and like beat making stuff, it got even more sort of narrowed down कि भाई okay, ये direction follow करना, and then it was just that.
Then it was a breeze.
So basically, like when we started making the album, like even Robbery was done before Hustle, like demo without the
first version of Robbery.
Because the first version and the final version don't
Very
sound
different.
anything like each other.
Yeah, like most of these songs have gone through like 2 or 3 beat changes. कि like एक beat बनाया, फिर record किया, फिर vibe नहीं बना, तो beat delete, make a new beat on that. So that happened quite a lot throughout.
Okay.
And like the sound, why it's so electronic is because the villain is a cold person. He's a cold persona. That is why it's so electronic, so cold. Like that is why we went with the analog master for the warmth in the masters, because the warmth is in the masters. But the sound, the sonic, the production is cold. It's heartless. It's brutal. Just like the demeanor of this character, this persona. So that's why the beats are like that, and that's why they come together so nicely. It's like a perfect combination.
I think the mastering bit, you see, I think that's why Gravity and Outfly, you as a duo stand out, because there's a lot of detailing which a lot of artists today don't really like. These are the small details for a normal listener. We don't know कि अच्छा ऐसा तुमने किया है, but then in the output, this is the difference that creating the impact.
Definitely.
But even in the themes, okay, like I know after like, I'll just admit, I tried to find sense in the album. Well, sense in the sense that, like a cohesive storyline. I thought, Brown Bastards are related to Concept Monster because there's a sick transition over there. But then based on the cover art, I think shout out to Vaishak, there's like a lot of elements, Joker ke elements. So what are, what supervillain like characters that inspired you for this album? Like, I know Joker is one for sure.
Yeah, the Joker is the primary character from which I took character traits for the character supervillain. Took character traits for this character from Joker, from this movie called Audition, which I have based the album's pacing is based on it. And also like I would say mostly the Joker, but it's more so inspired by real life psychopaths, and like so I have always been a very dark content consuming person, unsurprisingly. And so I used to watch all these documentaries जिसमें किसी murderer के बारे में बात हो रही है, कोई band के बारे में बात हो रही है, dark band like जिसमें band members ने एक दूसरे को मार दिया है, वैसा सब shit. So I kinda tried to understand the psychology of what goes in the head of a criminal or someone who's sick in the head, and I tried to live that while writing these songs. So it is a very weird mindset to be in, because it can fuck your real life symmetry up, but that is what brings out these very unique perspectives. Because a villain won't try to be menacing. A villain will be menacing because of the type of things he's saying, he or she is saying, because that is what makes them the villain, because they are organically evil. There is no need to be evil. You are evil.
It's just madness. There's no method to madness.
There's no method to madness.
If I put it like that. But I'll share one anecdote. So I saw this video, Rajiv Masan, where Rajkumar Rao, he was playing this terrorist role. I think it was Ometa. I don't remember the name of the movie. But he said, he got so much into the psyche of the character that, once, I think in Belgium or somewhere, there was a bomb blast. and he literally he read the news and he said good job. Like yeah, he just said it out and he's like itna my character mein ghus gaya tha. So did something like that happen to you? Because I think I do understand, you know, like when you get so much into the depth of, you know, the persona, it's did that anything like that happen with you?
That happens. That happens a lot. Outfly is witness to some of them.
सिर्फ बीट को ही किल किया और किसी को किल नहीं किया.
किसी को किल किया नहीं, बस ख्याल आ जाते कभी
Oh,
कभी.
damn.
These had the weirdest thoughts, bro. Like the day of the SuperVillain video shoot. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
No.
SuperVillain video shoot ke din. So we were leaving from Borivali to go to
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Andheri, and we stopped by at a shop to buy some stuff. And there's a guy. Now this is super dark and this is fucked up. So you can probably like not even keep it. So he sees a guy who's sitting on the ground with like crutches by his side.
Yeah.
Okay, and you can see like his leg is like broken and stuff. Like not
And
broken as in he's
there was
got.
like an extra structure.
वो हाँ मतलब वो splint वगैरह था उसके पैर पे. ठीक
I
है.
think I know where this is.
So this guy, he's like, bro, कभी ना मेरे को तो SuperVillain type ख्याल आ जाता है. मैं बोला क्या ख्याल आया तेरे को? So he's like, bro, I feel like kicking his leg.
Oh my
I'm like,
god.
what the
Oh
fuck,
my
bro?
god.
What the fuck? मैं बोला भाई, we just make this album and that's it. Like we don't go anything beyond that. That's
Oh
it.
bhai. The reason I asked this question was kuch thoughts, especially in songs like Aaina and you know Zabardast. In my opinion, the way you narrate, like it creates a picture in my head. And I was like, भाई ये बॉडी बैग नहीं थैला ये सब भाई सच्ची में तो नहीं किया भाई. सच्ची में तो थैले में कुछ नहीं कर रहे हो ना भाई. मतलब that is a reason.
शॉप एंड थैले में.
But I'll tell you, like SuperVillain in real life तो चलो नहीं हुआ, but once the track list dropped, you know there's a community on Reddit, Indian hip hop heads.
Yep.
And वहाँ पे बहुत ऐसा meme type बन रहा था कि you know Gravity is really a supervillain for having Harjas, Muhfaad and Raga in the same album featuring.
Yeah.
So like how like I of course I know, you know, things are sorted and you know we don't want to go that way. But then how do you decide? Because in such a concept album, how do you choose who you want?
So it basically was like it depended upon the song. Because हम लोग गाना बना रहे एंड मैं मतलब we just randomly blurted out names कि हाँ ये गाने में तो रागा का वाइब काफी crazy लग गया. तो Outfly हाँ सही है भेज दे. Like that is the amount of.
I mean, sonically, like you know, like Zabardast जैसा गाना, it's mostly bass heavy. His voice is bass heavy.
Yeah.
Who else has got a bass heavy voice? And
Like the day we made the song, we were like Raga.
Raga, right?
It's just like natural choice है Raga उस गाने के लिए. So we just went with it. Similarly, when we were creating Brown Bastards, even when we had the first version, we were gonna send it to Harjas. Like initially we had some other names, but then once ऐसा आया कि हाँ Harjas को ले सकते हैं, then I reached out to him and he was more than game. So we were like, well.
Yeah, like also the fact that they spontaneously agreed to give us their feature, so that's also how it worked out.
I must say though, the Harjas picking was incredible because after a long time, I mean, I don't listen to a lot of Harjas, so it may be my ignorance, but Harjas feature was really like, really.
He also snapped on this recent
Kalo.
Oh
He
my snapped on that joint, bhai. Crazy.
That was a crazy verse for sure. So anyway, I think let's start jamming on a few songs, bro. Like,
yeah, for sure.
For sure. We'll start off with SuperVillain.
Yes, sir.
Let's go.
मैं बुरा बहुत इसमें कोई शक नहीं, मास्क ऑन इसमें कोई शक नहीं, आंखें खोलते ही हरकत गई, बरकरार रखे बरकत नहीं, बिगड़ी हमसे बात तो फिर बात, शराबी के अल्फाज लड़खड़ाते दिन रात, रख दे हाथ संविधान, मिलते ही अलविदा तेरा बनाया दिल बिगाड़, बिगड़ी हमसे बात तो फिर बात, शराबी के अल्फाज लड़खड़ाते दिन रात, रख दे हाथ संविधान, मिलते ही अलविदा तेरा बनाया दिल बिगाड़, बहुत कोल्ड सर्दी शब्दों में है बर्फ पड़े मस्त, चल के ग्लास में मदिरा ये शराब गई नर्क, सॉन्ग ये झूठ और बहाने गुना 10, जबरदस्त वाड़े मुंह मगर मच मतलब, फर्स्ट क्लास चाय फिर दिमाग जाता खुल, गाने खाली ग्लास ना छोड़ूंगा एक बूंद ना चाहिए, टेक टू देख तू मुझे क्रॉस कर दो दिखे हे सूस, that's me, मैं बुरा बहुत इसमें कोई शक नहीं, मास्क ऑन इसमें कोई शक नहीं, आंखें खोलते ही हरकत गई, बरकरार रखे बरकत नहीं, मैं बुरा बहुत इसमें कोई शक नहीं, मास्क ऑन इसमें कोई शक नहीं, आंखें खोलते ही हरकत गई, बरकरार रखे बरकत नहीं, कोई शक नहीं.
I think by the way, just tell me SuperVillain, like the kind of things you talk about in the song, there's a beat switch which happens at, you know, and the beat switch happens when you say raat ke 12 baje, and the beat completely switches to, you know, you going very upbeat route.
Yeah.
I think even the production goes very upbeat, and
Yeah.
you have like, I don't want to say Kendrick style, but pardon my lack of vocabulary, but बहुत Kendrick से inspired लगता है.
Yeah.
So what was the vision behind that? You know, like 12 बजे is it like वो idea था कि हाँ अभी जाके मैं lively हो रहा हूँ.
Yeah, it's like the villain getting in his zone and like telling you who the fuck he is, like who the fuck he is, and that is what the idea was. There wasn't like a lot of thought into it. It's just like I go by instinct. I am a very by the instinct artist.
Yeah.
So, and most of my choices that I make in the songs are like the first instinct is the last instinct most of the time. Like the last take is what I had in the first instinct most of the times. Obviously we go through changes and we obviously take different types of approaches, but most of the time we end up with what the first thought was. So the first thought was to go with this aggressive vocal modulation, which is a little Kendrick style. But it's this vocal modulation style. I am more inspired by Andre 3000 for this than Kendrick, because he has that very high toned voice.
Yeah.
So that it just brings up the energy whenever if you hit the right pockets with that voice, with that on such an instrumental, it just brings the energy up. So I guess that was what it brought together.
Makes sense. But when you said that first instinct and last instinct, again you ended off with Aaina, and then Aaina mein also SuperVillain. So that is also what I thought.
It connects. Like that is why the last line is there to tell you that this is a very important chapter, and every chapter is important because the last chapter will tell you what it is actually.
What it is, right?
Yeah, what is actually the origin.
Makes sense. Now we roll to the second song. Okay. Like वो कट में कर देंगे.
Concert monster करूँ मैं तांडव स्टेज पे 5-6 bouncers रावण की तरह हूँ रेस में बेस फटे गिरे बेसमेंट्स बिजी रहता मेरा एजेंट मॉश पिट बनाती पेशेंट होश भी उड़ाते एमेन. Concert monster करूँ मैं तांडव स्टेज पे 5-6 bouncers रावण की तरह हूँ रेस में बेस फटे गिरे बेसमेंट्स बिजी रहता मेरा एजेंट मॉश पिट बनाती पेशेंट होश भी उड़ाते एमेन. बैठो भी लोग ऐसों से मैं भी क्या सहमति लूं, बचपन से मेहनती रहमती लूं, सताती नहीं अब बैनक में धूप बंदे पे गैरत है कारनामे हैरत अंगेज मैं नया चंगेज गैंग्स न लगाते घाव पे बैंडेज मंडे से मंडे हो मैडनेस चेक करो बैंड विद हैज बीन रैपर्स करेंगे अब कैश एंड क्लैश विद किंग ग्रैब होगा मैजिक ट्रैजिक मैसिव स्टेज और क्राउड को पैसिव एक्टिव बंदों को कर दिया चेक शेयर मात बिच हम लेजिट हार जीत की बातचीत में हार चढ़ाता मैं फोटो पे क्लिक एक दिन में किल किए 200 मेरे दिलो दिमाग में जोशो जब रातों खत्म गई रात गई बात वाह भाई वाह कई लाते ख्वाब अब लाखों पे हाथ और नाखून और दांत ये चाकू पे धार तो गले हो साफ ना होगी खराश बड़े विमान की एसी का पंखा फुल वापस सुनी बापी राहों पे क्या तुम गुनहगारी ना पोगे मैं तो दिन बदल दूं हाथों से मेरी जड़ें इतनी है गहरी बेटा क्या ही तुम उखाड़ लोगे बिजनेस स्किल पाब्लो लेवल 800 मेडल से मिनिमम सिग्नेचर फिनिशर फिल कर हेड अप वेस्ट साइड ये ड्राइव बाय है टेस्ट ड्राइव ये पेस्टिसाइड मैं छिड़क दूं तिरक धुंधे में जब भी जरा सा खिलस लूं ट्रेन से फ्लाइट तक सुबह कलम जो मेरा भगवान है पॉप है धर्म त्रिशूल से वार जो किया क्रॉस कर दुआ के नसीब को थॉट्स I'm a super villain and I get it on करूं take off ये amigo song but RIP to the people gone खोलूं third eye and I see the gods hell shower करूं heater on moment of silence before the violence this was the wildest violence yeah I am a king and a tyrant concert monster करूं मैं तांडव स्टेज पे 5-6 bouncers रावण की तरह हूँ रेज में बेस फटे गिरे बेसमेंट्स बिजी रहता मेरा एजेंट मॉश पिट बनाती पेशेंट होश भी उड़ाते एमेन. Concert monster करूं मैं तांडव स्टेज पे 5-6 bouncers रावण की तरह हूँ रेज में बेस फटे गिरे बेसमेंट्स बिजी रहता मेरा एजेंट मॉश पिट बनाती पेशेंट होश भी उड़ाते एमेन.
क्या है भाई concert monster like I was just like I don't know I was like no words but I think this is a song which needs an atmosphere which needs like this car setting is perfect for a song like this. So are you doing any planning a tour or something like that because stadium mein I can only imagine concert monster public chilla concert monster
like I want to see how loud the chants get during the Brown Bastards to concert monster transition.
परफॉर्म भी वैसे ही करना लाइव ट्रांजिशन वाला ही परफॉर्म करना
उसमें जो वोकल है वो बंद कर देना और क्राउड को बोलेगा तुम लोग चिल्लाओ भाई.
that would be crazy.
That would be nuts and that is what we are planning now. We are working on the tour and like putting things together so that you know when we present it, it's presented the way it's supposed to be.
It's supposed to be.
So yeah, that
But
वही
yeah,
चल रहा है.
so उसमें एक line है ना रावल की तरह.
रावण की तरह.
अच्छा रावण है. I've been hearing Raavan. I'm like, oh, is this a shout out to Raavan?
No, it's Raavan.
Raavan, no, Raavan की तरह.
Also one of the villains. The album is inspired by.
Makes sense.
One of the biggest villains, mythological villains.
Yeah, for sure. भाई ये सब तो ठीक है, but Outfly bro, क्या किया है bro इस चीज में. मतलब भाई इतने switches, there's so much happening, there's a lot of genre shift हो रहे भाई. मतलब कैसे हो गया भाई ये सब? Can you just take us through it?
Yeah, so beat switches is something that's there in every song. So that was part of the plan कि भाई हर song में beat switch करना है only to flex.
Oh, only to flex. Also because it's I will say this out loud. No गलती कुछ नहीं भाई, unabashedly. There's no one better, who can kill a beat switch than you, Grant.
Yes, sir.
Like we have, absolutely. So it was, a ploy to, exploit your strength.
Dude, exactly.
Ploy nahi, matlab, it's what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Flex it is, bro.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like
It's
I
not
know
even
for
a
fact,
flex, it's a fact.
It's a fact. Oof, that's a bar. So yeah, sorry, continue.
Yeah. So like I know for a fact that he'll, figure it out. He'll write his verses on whatever the fuck beats I made, whatever switches I do and all that. So the beat was built over a certain sample, and that sample was of a certain BPM, but it didn't sound like that BPM. It sounded like a different BPM. So what I did is कि पहले एक BPM चलाया with that sample really low in the background, working as ambience, and then I switched it to the actual BPM of that sample. So it went from like 143 to like 170. So it picks up speed. And that's like, and we wanted to like figure out how to do the switch with like a transition, some sort of like a riser or something like that, but it just didn't work. So I was like, ठीक है, इस transition को सीधा immediate transition कर देंगे. No like there's nothing predictable about it.
No foreplay.
Yeah, no foreplay. Just so we did that, and at a tempo like 170, the other genre that comes to mind at that speed is like dubstep.
Yeah.
There's drum and bass as well, but dubstep was more appealing because I've also used dubstep's sounds in the rest of the album.
Correct.
So I was like, okay, let's have a dubstep outro for no reason. Just let's just do it.
Just SuperVillain shit.
And then we did the hook of the song again on the dubstep, and it sounded perfect. I was like, ठीक है, ये रखेंगे ऐसे guys.
So it was natural progression basically.
Very natural, yeah, very natural.
Yeah.
I mean, it took time to figure out, but we had it in our heads कि भाई okay ऐसा कुछ करना है.
ऐसा शॉट है bro.
Yes, sir.
But next अपन जबरदस्त play करते bro. मतलब मेरे को मैं बताता हूँ before I play the song. मुझे लगता था कि जबरदस्त is all about the music video man. क्या बनाया है bro. I think that you're setting a benchmark there also, not only from sound, from a sound perspective, but also on a music video perspective. I think a short film, but I really wish you and Raga were there. वो जो ऐसे ले रहा है, that would have been crazy. But again, coming back to the point, I thought जबरदस्त वाला like हाँ भाई ये gigs में होता रहेगा, drugs लेती है public. But now since I know what Concert Monster is all about, which is basically मतलब जो artist जो kill करता है, and bodyguard बचा रहा है, which as you mentioned was there in Brown Bastards. कि तुम्हारे mosh pit से भाई तुम्हारा गाना overpower करे उन लोग ना मर जाए भाई, वैसा वाला शॉट.
Yes.
So yeah, let's play Zabardast man. I'm just so excited to have this live.
Sir.
गंदी भला मेरे इलाके में गंदे ना मेरी गलती सिक्का मारा पलटी आई बारी मेरी पक्की चूना जो लगाया तो करेंगे कच्ची पक्की बोला 300 तंबाकू बातचीत गला मारे काटी चलता देते बंदे जिनसे बंदगी ना बनती बंद हो जाती हार्ट बीट्स नमी मेरी मार्कशीट दुश्मनों की जिंदगी में आर्थिक तंगी करम है बुरे में इस सदी का रावण मेरे दस्तर पर एक ज्यादा कदम मेरे थे आगे जैसे अक्षर पहला देते नहले पे दहला बॉडी बैग नहीं है पहला.
I'm so sorry to cut you off. Can you just break down that bar, Akshar Pehla and that Raavan bar?
Karam Hai Bure.
मैं बताऊँ?
बताओ भाई, producer जानता है.
Bro, I know all his lyrics by now.
Drake वाला scene तो नहीं ना भाई?
नहीं.
Oh yeah, I write these songs.
I write a little too many. Like इतना lyrics लिख देता हूँ कि ऐसा पेड़ हो जाता है. अभी मैं I have moved on mentally to the next project.
Yeah, makes sense.
So it's Karam Hai Bure, मैं सदी का रावण.
और मेरे दस्तर पर एक ज़्यादा कदम में रहते आगे जैसे अक्षर पहला. कदम में रहते आगे जैसे अक्षर. तो Karam Hai Bure.
Karam Hai Bure, मैं सदी का रावण. Come on, bro. You can do it.
Let me explain. It's a very complex bar.
Yeah.
Karam Hai Bure, मैं इस सदी का रावण. मतलब I am the new Raavan. because Raavan was knowledgeable,
Yeah.
but he was evil,
Yeah.
right? But एक सर ज़्यादा है मेरे पास, like.
So even better. You're
Yeah,
the
I am
new
even
of
better.
Raavan
I am like the
2.0.
evolved version of Raavan, more
Damn.
intelligent, more evil, वैसा. And like no disrespect. And
To Raavan?
no disrespect to Raavan.
Sorry, bhai. Shout out Raavan.
Don't be crossing
Shout out
my
to
Lakshman
Raavan.
Rekha.
Oh, man. Crazy.
And like कदम में रहते आगे जैसे अक्षर पहला, तो बुक्स में या किसी भी चीज में अक्षर पहला सबसे आगे होता है. So मेरे कदम तुम सबसे आगे, because I am the super villain with 11 heads, so I think ahead of you.
Oh yeah. Damn.
That's how it connects.
That's
इसलिए इतना confused हो रहा है मैं. अरे
हाँ.
रुको, let me get this straight in my head what I had written.
भाई मैंने बहुत बार सुना, I still couldn't catch it. Yeah, so I'm so
it's-
sorry for interrupting. Let's just jump back in.
Yep.
Let's get in.
खर्चे बड़ा लगा यहाँ मेला और रिबू हटेला एला एला हसीना भी मरती वो बनेगी बेगम उस पे कुछ नहीं पर बिस्तर पे रेशम हाथ उसके बदन पे बंदा में बेढंग काफी क्लीशे I love and I hate her टॉप डाउन शॉटगन पे शॉटगन पीछे बॉडीगार्ड शूटर एंड डॉक्टर पकड़ लेता नस मैं करता बस नष्ट और देता बस कष्ट मैं लेता हूँ कष्ट मैं जबरदस्त जहाँ बैठा वही तक मैं जबरदस्त बदल दिया मैंने वक्त मैं जबरदस्त मैं जबरदस्त जहाँ बैठा वही तक मैं जबरदस्त.
What a song, man. What a song, bro. I think, matlab, first of all, I'd like to thank, from the entire hip hop community in India. Matlab, we always wanted to, like, I think Raga,
Yeah.
Grav,
Yeah.
iconic voices.
Yeah.
इतना deep baritone, भाई पूरा मतलब आधे दिल्ली और बॉम्बे का aggression तो तुम्हारे आवाज में है भाई. मतलब इतना आवाज सुन के public पागल हो जाएगी. So, thank you. How did this happen? How did Raga connect with you? What's the story?
So Raga and I have been connected for a long time. Raga was one of the first dudes to give me a co-sign in Indian hip hop back in 2015. 2016 I guess, when I dropped my first song Saransh. So he had just blown up after like Jamna Par,
Yeah.
and he was dropping back-to-back singles. So this is the long-haired Raga.
Ha.
So that is when he had put up a Facebook post where it was like, drop your links below and I'll share whichever are my favorites. So the top 5 he shared, Saransh, my first song was there.
पांचों आपके थे? नहीं.
5 होते, एक ही गाना बनाया था भाई सबसे. 5 गाने होते तब मेरे पास मेरा दिमाग फट जाता. 5 गाने बनाए.
Yeah.
बट वो एक गाना उन्होंने पिक किया था. एंड सिंस देन वी हैड बीन कनेक्टेड एंड मतलब फॉलो भी करते थे एक दूसरे को काफ़ी टाइम से. बट बात मतलब ऐसा छेड़ी नहीं गई थी कि हाँ कुछ करेंगे. मतलब इट वॉज ऑलवेज एविडेंट दैट दिस इज सपोज टू हैपन. 2 such voices on one track, it's supposed to happen. But wasn't like it was just about the right timing. And I guess the right timing was SuperVillain. So when Zabardast was one of the quickest songs we made for the album, right?
Yeah.
Probably the quickest song.
We made it. He sent us his verse. Then we changed the beat also just as fast.
Oh.
Yeah.
So for Raga's part, the beat is slightly different.
Okay.
If you
Yeah,
listen to
yeah.
it again, you'll realize that there are certain like changes in the beat. So वो भी फटफटी हो गया.
I think it ends also quicker. Raga's verses comparatively shorter.
It's probably
That's also
shorter,
because
yeah.
you repeat the hook also, like
Yeah,
chorus.
yeah. And
hooks are all his.
He has a
All his,
8-line verse.
Yeah, makes sense.
It's a short verse. It's a short, tight verse. Because my verse is slightly longer.
Yeah.
And but it sums up very nicely. Even with that, like it's not a very drawn out verse, and it's not a very short verse.
It's tight and to the point.
It's tight, yeah. It's to the point.
No.
And like we had got in touch. Like हसल के बाद मैं दिल्ली गया था. वर्जस का गिग था मेरा.
Yeah.
तो there we met and उधर बातचीत हुई वगैरह वगैरह. So I had sent the track to him already. So he took his time, he wrote, he recorded, he sent it through, and we sat on it, finished the song, and here we are.
And that's how 2 iconic voices collaborated.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Very simple process.
Very simple.
Yeah.
But I think we are running out of time. But
Yeah.
I want to play the song, bro. Aaina is definitely, I think, it deserves a music video in my opinion, because the storytelling in it, the way you have narrated things, you know, I really hope, bro, that
Somebody send funds for
Somebody
Aaina
send funds.
Aaina
Shout
music
out
video
Manifest.
because
Sab
that
karo
video
bhai.
about to be expensive.
Expensive as hell. But bro, like, let's play the song and then discuss about this because I have a lot of questions about Aaina.
It's the longest song on the album.
Longest song on the album, you know, we're talking about short verses and going. It's the longest song. Drums, simple.
था मेरा चेहरा तेरा जब मेरे हाथ ना थे खून से लथपथ है तेरा चेहरा बीता वक्त अब खून से लिखूं तुझे खत हर पल है संघर्ष इस रास्ते का एक ही है अंत हर पल है संघर्ष इस रास्ते का एक ही है अंत आंखों में आंखें होती ना थी पहले रोज रोज देखो लाखों चेहरे पर तेरी मुस्कान पे रुकी नजर जचे कल्पना में तुझ पे माँ के गहरे जचा मेरा हाथ तेरे गालों पे तेरे बालों में लगा के गुम थे सालों से न भूला वफादार पहली मुलाकात फिर तुझसे हुए दूर मिले सालों बाद दोनों दोस्त बने होश उड़े बातों बात 3 महीने बाद साथ घूमे हाथों हाथ नजदीकी बढ़ गई वक्त खामोश था लगा कि 6 साल गुजरे यूं रातों रात रिश्ते ने लिया मोड़ अब बातें हैं कुछ और दिन भी है कुछ और इरादे भी कुछ और उसकी यादों को निचोड़ के मैं खिंचता ये कलम जो आंखों में था उसके नहीं मिलता कहीं और मेरे दिन गए बदल आए बादल काले वाले फिर तूफाने आई ऐसी लगी आग वो बरसाने परवाने को परवाना थी उसको था समझाना कि ये नई जिंदगी मेरी रातों को मैं सोता ना पाप नशे में धोता ना फिर करता उसे दोबारा बजे रात के जब उठी वो बगल से आके कानों में कहा कि मेरा जीने का ना मन है तू है नहीं वो जिसने मेरे साथ खाई कसमें क्या पूरी करनी रस्में अब अधूरे मेरे सपने तुम वो थे जो था रक्षक अब तुम सबको जाके डस दे इतना ज्यादा जहर हम कैसे खुद में रख ले हाँ मैं जानती बुरा हुआ है बहुत तब बने तुम ये पर कांटों के बिन बागों के गुलाब भी न महकेंगे हम सह लेंगे अकेलापन जो आएगा पर ये सफर यही तक रह जाएगा
This is so sinister what you do right now. It's like
देख सके खुद को मेरे सामने तो आईना पहन लिया है मैंने अपने आप पे देखता ना 2 बार कुछ बुरा करने के पहले मुझे देख के सो हंसने लगते ना मैं बना मैं सुपर विलन I'm sinning winning and killing अब लाखों में होती डीलिंग्स ना मैं फील करता फीलिंग्स yes I rose like the phoenix from the ashes I'm a demon drop a casket from the ceiling pure evil I'm a heathen I'm a god and can't none of y'all touch me leave you hanging from a rope no bungee getting gory like it's जंजी का दिलों में हूँ मैं असली तेरी तोड़े हड्डी बस्ती हाँ शिकारी हूँ मैं नस्ली हमने कश्ती डूबे धूम के तू तेरी यादों के दुनिया में मेरे फूटे राहों में तुझे हम ढूंढे फेंकने में चाहता लाशें जहाँ पे वहाँ पे तू है मैं ना रुकूंगा बेशक जैसे तू ना रुकी दुनिया टूटी थी मेरी जब तू थी गई अब झूठी राहों पे भूखी खूनी की सूची नहीं लिस्ट लंबी जैसे रातें तेरी यादों की कहा था कि सब ठीक ना ये बातें तूने मानी थी पर इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि ऐसे चली जाती अपने आप को गले से तू लगाती ना लटकाती तो होते दिन अलग पर one bad day is good enough to bring you a lifelong hate अब ना तू देख सके खुद को मेरे सामने तो आईना पहन लिया है मैंने अपने आप पे देखता ना 2 बार कुछ बुरा करने के पहले मुझे देख के मैं बुरा करके तस्वीरें खींचूं क्योंकि लाशों में तो तुझी को देखूं इसी बहाने तो कर रखूं ताकि मैं तुझे मिलूं कभी कभी तो हाँ ये जलावा पर इसी में खुश न भूलता कौन था फोटो से खींचते ज्यादा ना रिश्ते बस मुझे लो मैं और अप्लाई भरी दे रोज जो छापने विक्टिम लगाते भोग मैं बहुत प्रिडिक्टिव क्रिमिनल कोड मैं को बस डिस्टेंस माफी में इंस्टेंट देखो हीट पे जैसे मैं विंसेंट मैकमैन यस मैन मैं सतरा से हूँ खतरा जो रास्ता चुन लिया तो मैंने सीखा नहीं रखना अपने बाप को खो के आया रैप गेम से लेने बदला हर साल 10 अक्टूबर मुझे रहेगा खतरा लगभग खोया सब अब तो दुनिया को है सदमा ये जिंदगी तो मेरे बाप से बना है डरमा सुपरविलन
literal chills, bhai. I don't know if I can show. Bhai, goosebumps are bhai. It's crazy. And you're telling me that last part was one take.
That whole part, मैं गुनाह करके तस्वीरें खींचूं from there till the end. I recorded him, so I can tell you that was one take right from there till the end. The fastest part of the song is one take.
Wow. Wow.
To the extent that, bro, the entire album was recorded later on in a studio and demos pehle ghar pe bante the on a cheaper mic.
Yeah.
He couldn't do this again in the studio, so I was like, okay, we're using the take from the demo recording. So that's what that is.
That's what that is.
Yeah.
Because वो जो feel होता है, like when you write the song, that feel is so heavy, so natural that it's easier.
Like he'll hit those pockets again, but वो feel
नहीं आएगा,
वो feel he will use that.
Because we, even though we are very technical people, at the end of the day, feel ना हो तो फिर मजा नहीं है.
I know.
उस take में, उस verse में, उस recording में. So we went with the feel, and the feel was strong with this one. I have always been a storyteller at heart.
Yeah.
So like I study and observe things थोड़ा अलग तरीके से, मतलब थोड़ा ज़्यादा ही गहराई में जाके.
Yeah.
Like अगर मैं किसी का एक्शन देखता हूँ या कोई किसी का पर्सनालिटी देखता हूँ, सो आई ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड देयर साइकी, लाइक हाउ दे थिंक, व्हाट गोज ऑन इनसाइड द हेड, एंड वो मैं रेप्लिकेट करने की कोशिश करता हूँ अपने राइटिंग में, सो दैट यू नो इट्स लाइक मेथड राइटिंग, लाइक देयर इज मेथड एक्टिंग, दिस इज लाइक मेथड राइटिंग, गेटिंग इनटू द कैरेक्टर एंड राइटिंग एज द कैरेक्टर. सो
And just like that, we are pulled up, and this was all about SuperVillain, its stories and its breakdown.
like, comment and share the Off the Dome podcast. Catch me and Outfly doing our thing.